Good morning, members of the Committee for Constitutional Affairs and Decolonization, support staff, radio listeners, TV viewers, and members of the media. Welcome to this committee meeting number 5 of today, Thursday, June 9th, 2022. We have established a quorum of 7 members. Please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. I have received notice of absence from MP William Marlin. Are there any notifications from the floor? MP De Weaver, you have the floor.
Good morning, Madam Chair Lady, Khifid, my colleagues here in Parliament, support staff of Parliament here, the viewing and listening public. Thank you very much, Madam Chair Lady. I will try to be as quick as possible, but I think that the public this morning have already heard on the radio programs of what's been going on with GB and the bills. I have had people yesterday for the last 24 hours already contact me about the astronomical amount that are on their bills. And what I just wanted to make sure that I come out here publicly and say is, this is not a blame game of anyone, attacking anyone individually. This is a problem that we have on an island-wide level, where I am concerned that we are not helping the survival of a government-owned company such as GB. I am also concerned that we have people in our community that are going to be reacting negatively to these bills. We are already over a hurricane. We are already over a pandemic. So I hope that tomorrow we have a question hour, which is just an hour. Depending on how much information comes out about GB, I just need to have clear answers. The clear answers this morning was that people should disregard their bills that have been sent to them electronically. It is more than that. People are receiving bills that do not match their last reading before GB was hacked. People are receiving bills with wrong addresses that they have not lived at for years. So, Madam Chair Lady, depending on how this goes, I want to see tomorrow if everybody's prepared for a minimum of 1 hour. But the public needs to know a whole lot more about this, and we need a lot more comfort, because what is coming out there now is not affordable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MP De Weaver. Do we have any additional notifications from the floor? I see no need. The agenda point for this committee meeting is a proposal for action following the Kingdom Charter Expert Roundtable Panel discussion, IS 825-2021-2022, dated April 22nd, and the meeting was requested by myself. We go over to the agenda point. On April 22nd, 2022, Parliament received a letter from myself as chair lady of this committee with the request that a meeting of the committee be convened with the aforementioned agenda point. This document is registered as IS 825-21-22 and can be found on the P drive of Parliament. It is important to note that the purpose of today's meeting is a follow-up to the expert roundtable panel discussion on the Charter of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, held here on Tuesday, April 19, 2022, during which a panel of experts consisting of Dr. Nilda Arduin, Professor Dr. Gerard Hoogers, the late Mr. Reinald Groeneveld and Mr. Julio Romney, they each presented their position papers on a number of topics related to the Kingdom Charter. The position papers of the panelists are still available on the website of Parliament. At this time, I will give a brief elucidation. So just again for the public, the meeting that we held, or the roundtable discussion that we held, was the first of its kind in April. We asked the experts named before to create position papers. Why? Because this committee and Parliament wanted expert advice on how to move forward with the Kingdom Charter, and in particular, perhaps suggesting amendments or proposing amendments to the Charter. In Dr. Arduin's position paper, and I quote, she stated that a reality check of the socio-political evolution within the territory since the enactment of the Charter is necessary to initiate an effective approach to renegotiate and adjust current kingdom relations and collaboration. And so I, after the committee as chair, wrote a short proposal on possible action points in the hopes that we could take the suggestions given at the roundtable and move forward in some effective manner. Just to share some of the key recommendations by the experts, for Dr. Ardern, she suggested that we utilize the steps in the decolonization process designed by Lanoy to install perhaps a mediation team to mend relations with the Netherlands, which everyone would know isn't in the best state at the moment, or improving, we can say, and to be extremely clear about and inclusive about the desired position that St. Martin has within the kingdom. The late Mr. Groeneveld, which we recently attended his funeral and who will be missed dearly, suggested that we restructure the kingdom into a federal state. He also proposed that we make amendments to the charter based on this sort of federal structure, and maybe a constitutional court for the kingdom. These were his last words that we will always have in the position paper that he presented to us. Professor Hochers suggested a constitutional review, as well as a constitutional court for the entire kingdom, as well as amendments to the charter. And Mr. Romney asked us to increase the democratic legitimacy in total. And so in my proposal, I suggest a self-assessment that as this committee, we look at the actions that have taken place over the last 2 years. This assessment would have to be designed, and also to install 2 technical subcommittees to do different types of work. Because of the proposal being more of a working, or the proposal being or needing to be handled in a working meeting sort of setting, I would now like to make a proposal to the committee that this meeting be closed and turned into a working meeting. MP Westcott Williams, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. A good morning to you, Madam Chair Lady. A good morning to my colleagues. A good morning to all tuned in to this meeting this morning. Madam Chair Lady, while I do not have an issue with your proposal to continue behind closed doors to discuss the workings of your proposal, but Madam Chair Lady, I need to remark once again in this committee meeting that I have a request pending for a meeting of this committee. I have questions at this committee to be answered that relate directly to the topic that we're going to be discussing behind closed doors. Madam Chair Lady, you mentioned, for example, the matter of a proposal from one of the panelists being one of mediation. Madam Chair Lady, we have not addressed, and we should address in this context, the agreement, whatever that is, with the Coharis Law Group that acts as a sort of mediator, as far as I have been able to read and ascertain, on behalf of Parliament. Where does that fit in our process of now deciding how we want to move forward? These things need to be answered, Madam Chair Lady. And so again, and I have a request for this committee to meet for us to talk about those things, for us to find out what is the agreement, how long will that go? Can we put some of what we heard from the experts, can we put it with the Coharis Law Group to, what is it? How much money have we paid? How much money are we going to be paying? Are we still going to be paying? All of these things are hanging somewhere out there. So Madam Chair Lady, before we close the meeting, go behind closed doors with the meeting, I just needed to again mention that fact. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP Westcott Williams. MP, you're completely right, and I Do know that your meeting is scheduled. Your meeting is scheduled. I cannot confirm a date, but it will be within the next 2 weeks because you are correct. There are a number of pending questions, and that also fall within the scope of this proposal. So the meeting will definitely take place before the closing of this this parliamentary year. I promise you that. Thank you, MP. If there are any objections to the closing of this meeting, then I hereby close this meeting, or it becomes a working meeting to be continued behind closed doors. Adjourn. Close the meeting. For the public. Meeting closed to the public.